Wadsworth Community Television, and through the use of the new cam van, we are on the road. We are at Gene Clark Stadium in Lodi as the Wadsworth Grizzlies open up the 1993 campaign against the Cloverleaf Colts. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Gorman, and I'm joined by my friend Dave Hayslip and my dad, Bob Gorman. And Dave, we take a look at the records of the teams from last year.
Well, Jeff, looks like tonight's game, based on the records, is going to be a pretty uneven matchup if anything is going to hold true from last season to this season. The Grizzlies were only 2-8 last year, while the Colts posted a 9-1 record and finished 7th in the 6th region of Division II schools.
The Cloverleaf Colts won the toss, but they decided to defer until the second half. The Grizzlies in the first half have chosen to receive. They will receive the ball on the left side of your screen and move to the right. Deep for the Grizzlies are number 4, Jason Knapp, and number 2, Brian Madigan. And set to kick off will be Matt Panoska, number 64 for Cloverleaf. And away we go. It's heading toward the left side towards Jason Knapp. The senior takes it, steps up over the 20, and he's still going. Breaks across the 30 to the 31. Jason Knapp with a good debut for the Grizzlies.
Knapp did a good job finding the hole through all the defenders there. Did a pretty good job, gained about 15 yards on the return.
Okay, leading the way for the Grizzlies on offense will be the quarterback, number 1, Ian Cranston. He's a junior, 5'11", 150. He was going to be the quarterback last year for at least some time, and he did quite well, but he went down with an injury, and now he is back for his junior campaign.
It's a lot of credit to him saying that he was going to start his sophomore year. And
quite, Grizzlies go with 2 backs. Man in motion, it's a pitch around right end. It's Brian Madigan stepping through traffic. He's got a first down and more. Cutting back across the 50 and to the 43 of the Colts. Brian Madigan with an end around from the wingback position.
We know Brian Madigan has good speed. He's a 3-sport player and for the Grizzlies, and he's shown a lot of speed in baseball, so we know he has the abilities to run out there.
New wrinkle for Ramsey Shepard as Brian Madigan picks up 17 yards on the first play from scrimmage. Madigan was used as a wide receiver last year, but now he's used as a halfback, and that time he came around from the wing. He's lined up at the wing left right now. This is the west wing offense, as the wing is to the west if you're looking at a map. Giving right up the middle for a short gain, that's going to be Josh McCall. McCall got a lot of playing time at fullback last year. A gain of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
That play was designed the same way the last one was, but instead of giving it to Madigan, it instead went to McCall.
Actually give McCall 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 from the Colts 41. Ian Cranston has kept the ball on the ground so far from the Grizzlies. Now Jason Knapp lining up in the east wing. Here he comes. And they will give it to Knapp. Gets a good block, but his protection disintegrates, and he will lose some. Knapp loses a couple back to the original line of scrimmage, the 43. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
It looks like he was brought down by number 87, Matt Fordenwalt. He's a junior, 6'3", 203 pounds for the Colts.
Okay, it'll be 3rd and 8. Looks like the Grizzlies going with the 3 running backs, 2 of them behind the quarterback and 1 of them coming from the wing. Starting halfbacks are Brian Madigan and Jason Knapp. Josh McCall, the man in the middle, is the fullback. 3rd and 8. Coming around is Knapp, fumble the ball, flags down, quarterback down, and they fall on it. The referee pointing to the ground saying that is no fumble. The ground caused the fumble. But we will have to see what the violation is as well. It will be on the Grizzlies. Illegal motion. And so the Grizzlies will not punt yet. It'll be 3rd and 13, a 5-yard dead ball penalty on Wadsworth.
Not sure exactly what the illegal motion was on that.
Looks like the Grizzlies are moving back a little bit farther, although they do refuse it, and it will be 4th down. So it will be 4th and 8, and the Grizzlies punting unit comes onto the field.
Good call for the Colts. Why give them another shot on 3rd down then?
Exactly. So the Grizzlies gain a couple of get a couple nice plays off the top, but then the drive stalls and it'll be punting time. Craig McNamara will do the punting this year. 6-foot senior, and a couple of deep men.
And he's the starting free safety.
Popped up short, heading up is Brent Fiala, although he won't take it, and the Grizzlies are going to down it. near the 20, about the 21, so the Colts will set up at the 21.
Well, the Grizzlies offense didn't seem to have too many tools. They went to the same couple kind of running plays there on that first drive.
Coach Ramsey Shepard, in his second year, the Grizzlies were 2-8 last year, 2-6 in the Suburban League, and Cloverleaf was 9-1 last year. They won the championship in the Pioneer Conference, which the Grizzlies used to be in up until about the mid-'80s. Now, taking the controls for Cloverleaf is number 1, Scott Gasper. Quick hitter to the side. It's caught, and heading up is Scott Malarkey. Malarkey picks up about 6. Malarkey, a wide receiver, and they just went with the one-step drop, almost no drop there. Of course, Cloverleaf's biggest threat, besides Gasper, is Ted Wright. Wright wears number 20, and he is the tailback. You see him at the very back of the screen on the right. He's a transfer. He spent his first 3 years with the Medina Battling Bees, where he racked up 2,500 yards on the ground, and now he's a senior. So the Colts, Bobby Lake, their coach, really banking on him. Again to throw Gasper. It's tipped, and a big hit by the Grizzlies, and a nice job there. Looking for the pickoff was Aaron Russell at the linebacker spot. That might be Jason Joy, as the numbers are a little bit messed up. I think that was Jason Joy on the play.
And something interesting to note, to watch for today, will be Cloverleaf's offensive line. They're supposed to be pretty young, not too experienced out there, and that could be a problem for Gasper.
3rd down and 6 from the 25 for Cloverleaf. Gasper under center. They have the I formation. They will give it to Matt Ford underneath. He breaks free heading down the right side. Grizzlies in pursuit, and a swing tackle by the free safety, Craig McNamara, but not before Matt Ford is able to pick up a Colts first down.
One more good block, and he could have been downfield on that one.
So Cloverleaf coming up with a first down, heading out to their own 43. So the Colts mixing it up, starting out with a pair of passes and then going to the ground. Haven't heard from my dad, Bob Gorman, yet, but he is being our analyst. He'll be checking in with us a little later. He is mapping the trends. And he's giving us some pointers, as mentioning the Grizzlies in a 4-4 defense, 4 down linemen, 4 backs. Here's the first time we've seen Ted Wright. He breaks free over right tackle, and he has first down and more, again into the Grizzlies secondary.
Good blocking, but he had a lot of good strength in there to push away some defenders and get through the line there.
Again, it was Craig McNamara, the free safety, making the stop. And you don't want McNamara making too many stops on the run plays. Cloverleaf starting to open up that running game. And they are to the Grizzlies 39, where it'll be another Cloverleaf first down. Have a bit of a timeout here. 7:48 to go in the first quarter. There are 12-minute quarters here in high school. Grizzlies got a couple first downs but couldn't convert on the first drive, and now Cloverleaf on their first drive with a pair of first downs, and they're on the Wadsworth 39. Cloverleaf going with 2 wide receivers to the left, and their standard I formation with Ted Wright as the tailback and Matt Ford the fullback. Looking to the right. There's a toss through the hands of Scott Malarkey. He was wide open. He may have heard a few Grizzly footsteps on that.
I doubt he heard too much. The ground's pretty soft out there. I think any sound's going to be absorbed by the ground. We've had a lot of rain here today, as is evidenced by the pools of standing water that are along the track that surrounds the field here.
That could have been another problem for Malarkey. It seemed like his right foot slipped a little bit. Malarkey now in the slot to the left. John Itu is the wide receiver all the way at the bottom of your screen, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Cloverleaf. Scott Gasper, number 1. He does a lot for this team. He punts, he kicks, all-county selection last year. He's looking for Malarkey again, has his man. Grizzlies in pursuit, and they will stop him near the first down. Wadsworth linebacker Mike Levitt making the tackle.
Good turn by Malarkey there to get around the end there after you made the catch.
And credit Bobby Lake, the coach, going right back to the same play even after it failed. And very, very close. It'll be a yard short. 3rd down and 1. The Cloverleaf Colts on the near hash mark. And now they have 2 receivers out to the right and 1 to the left. They like to spread the field in any situation. And a little bit of movement, perhaps. There's the flag. Matt Ford, the fullback, bowls forward for the first down, but that will not count because I believe we have a false start on the Colts. Somebody moved on the right side of the line. We will see And the Grizzlies, you see their man clapping there. That's Mike Levitt, number 64, as he believes that it has gone against the Colts. Waiting for the official word now. There it goes. It is a 5-yard penalty. That is a very big penalty, as it's now 3rd and 6. McCall now number 43, yes. As the Grizzlies jersey numbers have changed a little bit. I think we have most of them pretty much under control. 3rd down 6 for the Colts. They're on the Grizzlies 36. And in the standard set, the receivers on the left now. Gasper in a usual throwing situation, looking towards his hot receivers. And there's Malarkey again. He's ahead for the 1st down, breaking a couple tackles before finally getting dumped by Josh McCall. And that will be a 1st down, a gain of 21 for Scott Malarkey through the air.
That seems to be Gasper's favorite play there, is throwing to the wide receiver out real quick on the outside before the cornerbacks have a chance to move in, and he's liking to hit this near side where Jason Knapp is our cornerback, is the Grizzlies quarterback.
It's hard for a cornerback to get his footing out there, especially when the receiver knows where he's going and you're not quite sure.
Too.
1st and 10, Colts now on Wadsworth's 15. We have 6:08 to go in the 1st quarter and no score in the first game of the year. Now more movement as Ted Wright is buried by an exuberant George. But that play won't count. We'll see who moved this time. It's another false start on the Colts. So a few penalties here in the early going. 1 on the Grizzlies and now 2 on the Colts.
And you mentioned George. He's a standout coming back from last year.
And they're really relying on George and Josh Hendricks, who's now wearing number 79, to start on both lines. They are the Hendricks and George, the starting guards on offense and the starting ends on defense. George is a senior and Hendricks is a junior. 1st and 15 on the Grizzlies 20 now. Now they're going to pitch it to the weapon there, Ted Wright. Grizzlies stringing it out very nicely, making the stop, and Josh Hendricks on the way.
Yeah, it looks like that should be for a loss of yards.
Craig McNamara helping out as well.
I don't think they gained anything on that play.
That's what the Grizzlies are going to have to do. Ted Wright likes to run around the ends, and if the Grizzlies can just get some bodies out there and delay the play, it can work very well, and that's just what happened. Wright was only able to pick up 1. It'll be 2nd down and 14 for the Colts. They're on the Grizzlies 19. Gasper with a long count. He will do a little crisscross and give it to the fullback, Matt Ford. He is bottled up after a short gain.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a 3rd and long situation here for the Colts.
Shane Robinson coming from the defensive tackle spot. He did a good job of staying at home. They tried to send Ted Wright to the left, but they kept it to the right with Matt Ford. Another gain of 1. It'll be 3rd and 13, and now this is going to be time for the Grizzlies' pass defense to hold true.
Well, this will be the true test for the cornerbacks, because that's been their biggest gain for the Colts so far, is passing to the wide receivers on the outside. We got 2 split on the near side.
John Itu is wide to the left. Scott Malarkey, the favorite target so far of Gasper, is the slot man on the left. He's on the inside. Gasper to throw. He's still looking that way. Going for Itu. He makes the catch, but dumped, I believe, short of a 1st down. In fact, well short. And Jason Knapp making the play there. As he slipped up a couple times, but he held when it counted.
Seems to have learned the play a little bit better and knew how to react to it. As soon as Gasper was looking in this direction the entire time, and I think Knapp was able to see that and made a move as soon as the pass was made.
So Knapp with a fine play. The Grizzlies bending but not breaking. A gain of 7 on that 3rd down play, and it's going to be 4th down and 6. Scott Gasper stays on to try the field goal. It would be a 32-yard attempt. He boots it. It's looking off, and it is. It's wide to the right, and the Grizzlies defense holds. No score.
3:36 remaining in the 1st quarter, as the Grizzlies will take over the ball on the 11 or 12-yard line, as the announcer informs us.
Okay, so Wadsworth not in very good field position, but they have to be very happy with how the defense held.
Well, Jeff, you've liked to mention throughout the sports seasons how our sportscasts seem to make you seem like you're right there at the game, and never has been that more true than it is now when we're sitting right here in the stands amongst the Wadsworth fans.
We are, you're right, we are a member of the Wadsworth crowd. They are literally surrounding us here.
Although they seem to have given us a little bit of space.
That was very courteous of them. Grizzlies kicking off their drive, and with the missed field goal, the Grizzlies start on the 20. That's the high school rule.
Oh, it's true.
Josh McCall, the fullback, takes it over left guard. The Grizzlies are going to try to rely on that interior running game as they have a good, they moved Josh Hendricks from center in his sophomore year to guard in his junior year. Plus they have George, and now they got a senior Greg Steele taking over at center. He is number 50, and they're going to try to let McCall go through the line, and he picked up 3 on that first jaunt. Second down 7 for the Grizzlies on their own 23. They do the switch as Madigan joins the backfield and Knapp goes to the wing. This will be Madigan around right end. Puts a juke on his man, gets some nice blocking too. He's got the first down. Good upfield blocking for the Grizzlies there. Ben Hoover, wearing number 80 here. Ben Hoover, number 80 here on the road, throwing a nice block from the tight end spot.
And Madigan has been the offensive weapon so far for the Grizzlies. He's had 2 big runs, both of them for first downs.
They really like to use his speed on the outside. As you mentioned, his other background, winning the Scott Fletcher MVP award in the baseball season last year. Now, tripped up in the backfield is McCall as they go back to the middle. He'll lose about 1. We're ticking down to 2:39 here in the first quarter. Still no score. Grizzlies still keeping the ball exclusively on the ground.
We've yet to see a pass from the quarterback, Ian Cranston.
While the Colts have been about 65% passing. They really like Scott Gasper.
And that's where they're getting all their offensive from so far, is the passing game.
Okay, they did lose 1. It's going to be 2nd and 11. The Grizzlies setting up from the 43 of themselves, the Grizzlies. Ian Cranston takes a snap, gives it to Jason Knapp around left end. He is bulldogged down by Miguel Vieira. And he picks up about 2 or 3. It's going to be 3rd and 8.
And Miguel Vieira was one of the top guys coming back this year for the Grizzlies. He's
Colts,
really
actually.
For the Colts, one of the really highly touted players for the Colts this year.
I believe he was at about 110 tackles total on last year, as he was the other first-team all-county selection, all-Medina County selection, that is, for the Colts. 3rd down, 8 for the Grizzlies. This may be the time Cranston puts the ball in the air, fakes the handoff. Cranston slips, goes down, but he covers up the ball. So the Grizzlies will punt on the loss. But again, the poor condition of the field causing Cranston to slip.
Field position, it was field condition totally that caused that play to backfire. The play was run correctly. He had to make a quick stop so he could get the pass off after the fake handoff, but he just couldn't get stopped in time and had some slip in there.
And Brian,
did a good job holding onto the ball.
Brian Thompson, number 7, the Grizzlies split end, was open on the play, so if Cranston could have held his ground, he might have had a big gain. Craig McNamara, number 11, back to punt on 4th and 17. Grizzlies lost 9 on the play. Big rush.
Almost
McNamara
blocked.
able to get it away. And again, this one will roll dead as it takes a Cloverleaf bounce. Falling on it is Jason Joy. But again, the Colts will get pretty good field position on their own 44. And we have 44 seconds to go here in the scoreless first quarter as Wadsworth Community Television brings you Grizzlies action on the road as well as home. And we'll be coming back home next week for Cuyahoga Falls. And it's through the use of our lovely cam van that we start to bring you on the road. So that was a very good investment for the boys here at WCTV. Looks very nice from what we've seen of it. This is its inaugural broadcast. You're right, Dad. Scott Gasper under center on the Colts' second drive. Here's Ted Wright over left tackle, but again, the Grizzlies holding him up for a gain of 2.
We might be able to talk about the Colts offense in terms of the offensive line so far. You've noticed their entire structuring, not a lot of running, and the running hasn't gained them a whole lot, while the passing have been quick passes, you know, so Gasper doesn't have to worry about having a lot of protection from the line. He's getting the ball off quickly and doesn't have to fall back into a pocket that the line's not really providing him. And that was what was going to be questionable for Cloverleaf before the game, was how their offensive line could stack up.
Well, neither offense has scored yet. We've played 12 minutes. The first quarter is over with your score so far. The visiting Wadsworth Grizzlies nothing, the Cloverleaf Colts nothing. Jeff Gorman along with Bob Gorman and Dave Hayslip. No score after one quarter here in Lodi, home of the Cloverleaf Colts. And Dad, we got some dueling Big Ten fight songs here.
Yes, we do. Your alma mater, Northwestern, starts there doing the alma mater of the Cloverleaf. Of course, you can understand Ohio State's fight song here and Ohio State's fight song here from Wadsworth Grizzlies. The Ohio State fight song has been the Wadsworth Grizzly fight song for 25 years. It started with our affinity for having basically the same colors as Ohio State. We then went to the red and white, and they, of course, are the scarlet and gray. Looks like the first one to break open in the passing is going to do well. The field is pretty wet, and that's what they're taking a look at in the second quarter is the footage to be able to get a guy open.
And we talked about Ohio State. They'll open their season tomorrow at Ohio Stadium against the Rice Owls, a good academic school, and they've gotten a little bit better. They've risen a bit above Northwestern's level on the football field, but still it looks like Ohio State should be looking pretty good in that one. And
although Rice is getting 16 points in that game, so Ohio State easily the favorite in that one.
Okay, Scott Gasper, the quarterback, #1, and the Cloverleaf Colts now moving from left to right on your TV screen. Heading through the line again is Ted Wright. He picks up a couple more. It's going to be 3rd and 6. So Ted Wright really hasn't broken loose yet.
He's had 1 or 2 decent runs, but nothing that's been exceptional.
We were really kind of nervous about his reputation, picking up 2,500 yards on the ground in his first 3 seasons, and now coming back for a senior year. You expect him to turn into Eric Dickerson here in his senior year.
You figure he's averaging probably in his career roughly around 80-some yards a game.
That's
what that translates to.
That's true. 3rd and 6 now for the Cloverleaf Colts from their own 49 into the flat, and the Grizzlies able to bottle them up for the first down. That was Scott Malarkey again on the far side, number 83. And again, the Grizzlies defense holds just about 2 yards short of the first down. They picked up 4. Of course, we talked about Scott Gasper being a very good quarterback. He's been throwing mostly passes into the flat. He really hasn't tested his arm yet. Grizzlies have number 4, Jason Knapp, in single safety for the punt, as Gasper, the jack of all trades, punts it. Running up, catching it and falling down is Knapp. Did a good job of covering the ball. You don't want to make a shoestring catch and then fumble.
That's the first time Knapp's actually made a reception. The first one, you remember the first punt, was just landed as a dead ball.
This is the first punt that's been even handled by either team.
Anybody.
So we have 10:45 to go in the first half, and no score between Wadsworth and Cloverleaf. Both offenses trying to get on track. Each team has had 2 unsuccessful drives on offense, and now the Grizzlies will be heading towards the left.
And Jeff, we failed to talk about or I failed to talk about, since I'm the color man here, the colors of the jerseys.
I was just going to mention that. We'll get to that after this play. Grizzlies in the eye with Madigan and McCall. Here comes the wingback. They're going to give it to Jason Knapp. He's got some room around left end, juking a little, and he's able to get out of bounds without a scratch, and he'll be near the first down. Very nice job, and that this new wrinkle with the 3 running backs seems to be paying a lot of dividends.
It gives them 3 options, obviously, of guys they can go to, and that can really confuse a defense pretty well. Anyhow, the colors for the teams here, the visiting Wadsworth Grizzlies are wearing the white and red uniforms, the white jerseys with red lettering and red pants, while the Cloverleaf Colts have the green and gold, reminiscent of a few other area teams,
including our alma mater, St. Vincent St. Mary.
That's right.
This is going to be the fullback, Josh McCall. Actually, no, Madigan. Madigan gets about 5. As this time,
about the 40.
Usually the Grizzlies sweeping the back around the opposite end. This time the right halfback taking it to the right, which we haven't seen yet. And one thing you got to watch about Madigan, a converted wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Ramsey Shepard go into the air to him.
Or even a few screens, possibly.
That's right, Brian Thompson, the split end, checks back into the game.
That play gave the Grizzlies 6 yards on the ground, so it's going to be 2nd and 4 now with 9:46 remaining in the second quarter.
Number 30, Bert Smith, the backup split end coming off. Now we got to pile up at the line as they go with Jason Knapp into the line. That didn't quite work. So it's going to be 3rd and about mid-yardage. 3rd and 5 for the Grizzlies. So we're still going to see if Ian Cranston's going to put the ball up. He tried, but he fell down the first time.
And number 90, Jake Carmody, is in the game. Just came in with the play.
From the T formation, the wingback is Knapp. And stepping up is Cranston, gets the ball off, caught. That'll be a first down. And that is McCall from the fullback spot, getting the first down at midfield.
And the mixing up a little bit seems to be paying off for the Grizzlies. That's their best offensive drive so far as the effectiveness of the plays they have been running.
And Ian Cranston going off the play action. A nice 100% quarterback so far, 1 for 1. At the 46 of Cloverleaf now, the Grizzlies with their second penetration into Cloverleaf territory. The first one was about this far before the drive stalled. Now coming around in motion is Madigan. He will take the ball over right tackle, and he gets ahead for a couple. Right tackle Dan Razor, who is a returning starter from the right tackle spot, leading the way on the line.
Not particularly great blocking on that entire play. A lot of juking in there by Madigan to try to make his own yards out of that. So credit the 3 yards that the Grizzlies gained on that to Madigan's running ability. Doing a good job moving around inside there, trying to find the hole. He's a quick thinker.
Some more wholesale changes for the Grizzlies now as Craig McNamara, number 11, comes on. A couple players out now as the Grizzlies shuffling the order here. Cranston again to throw, a little toss, hauled in by Brian Thompson, I believe. No, it's Madigan, number 2, on the far side with a nice stop. A nice catch, I should say.
Very nice little catch by Madigan there. He had to think quick and jump in a hurry to get to it.
Good athletic play by Madigan. He is a senior this year, 5'9", 160. And the Grizzlies a couple yards short. It'll be 3rd down and 2. They are on the 38 of Cloverleaf. The Grizzlies' best drive so far, as you said, Dave.
And there's
the run and the pass.
There's your wholesale changes again for the Grizzlies.
Going back with mostly the original lineup.
A pretty common rotation of players here to bring the plays in.
Carmody, Jake Carmody is the split end on the right, and now they go with a nice fake. Still getting some yardage, and that'll be another Grizzly first down.
Madigan is just doing it all out there. And he seems to be the main offensive weapon so far for the Grizzlies.
That's true, we mentioned he can run and he can catch the ball. And the Grizzly faithful are going nuts. A very big Grizzly crowd here on the road. Student section's full, adult section's full, band section's full. We got a full house over here for the Grizzlies.
Well, we're only about 15 to 20 minutes down the road from Wadsworth, so it's not too long of a hike for the Grizzlies faithful to make it out to the games here. And on a rather cool night, too. Considering the weather that we've been having, it's pretty cool.
Brian Thompson back in his split end. Tight at right end is Ben Hoover. Here's the pitch. Looks like Jason Knapp. Knapp again trying to juke his way. He gets ahead for about 5. Jason Knapp really showing some speed out there.
Yeah, Knapp really turned it on to get the yards there. He had a guy right on him, and he just kind of took off. Turned on an extra little bit of turbo power there and scooted ahead for the gain of 5.
Good block on that play by the fullback, Josh McCall, leading the charge out of the backfield. And Dad mentioned the affinity of the Grizzlies for Ohio State and the Cloverleaf with the Michigan Wolverine-style uniform, or those 3 lines there.
That's too bad.
2nd down, 5 for the Grizzlies. Their deepest penetration so far. They're on the Cloverleaf 30. Here's Jason Knapp on the short side of the field. Steps up and picks up about 3. He's pretty close to a first down, actually.
It's going to be 3rd and short, probably. No score in the second quarter. There's 6:40 remaining here at Cloverleaf Stadium.
Well, it looks like right off the top, Coach Ramsey Shepard doing a good job of diversifying the offense, trying to improve on last year when the Grizzlies only scored 94 points, of course, an average of 9.4 points a game.
And how did they score those 0.4 points? I don't know of any play that nets you 0.4 points per game.
I think you can do that in the Canadian Football League. 3rd and 1. Go off for the Grizzly fans. We have a penalty. The flag is outside of, it's in the out-of-bounds area, so we may have a late hit out of bounds with the victim being Jason Knapp. So it is unsportsmanlike conduct, a late hit out of bounds on the Colts, and that will really cost Cloverleaf.
So the Colts obviously getting a little bit frustrated here by the activity that the Grizzlies have generated on the offense here.
Actually, I'm told it's offsetting on each team on sportsmanlike conduct. Maybe a little shoving. So the Grizzlies will get the first down.
Well, you'll have that.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line of the Colts, and it'll be a timeout for Cloverleaf. We have 6:12 to go in the first half, still no score, but this is the biggest drive by either team, Dave. We've seen Ian Cranston go to the air sparingly, but he's gotten some good receiving by Brian Madigan. And the Grizzlies also going to the running game on either side with Madigan and Jason Knapp.
Well, that's true, Jeff.
So,
thanks for the setup.
Coaches, we mentioned Ramsey Shepard in his second year. He was 2-8 last year for the Grizzlies. Bobby Lake for the Colts. They had a great year last year going 9-1. This is his 8th year at the helm, and that 9-1 record only brought his overall record to 30-40. So the Cloverleaf Colts program really in the dumper in past years, now coming up. And we mentioned the Grizzlies with 94 points on offense last year with 148 for the opponents. The Colts were really on the good side last year, racking up 266 to their opponents' 100.
Yeah, we want to apologize if there's been any technical trouble so far. We seem to be having a lot of conferences going on between our technical crew up here, but since we're watching the game live, we can't tell what kind of view you're having. But if there is anything, we apologize for that.
And we would like to thank everybody who supported and led to the being of this cam van that allows us to bring you games even on the road. We just love it. 1st and 10 from the Grizzlies from the 20. We have a fumble on the exchange. Everybody's piling up. We'll see who's got it. The Grizzlies have it. It didn't look like they did. It looked like there were more green shirts there, but the Grizzlies able to come up with it. Again, Brian Madigan, a heads-up play.
Could have been some good fighting in there by the Grizzlies to get that ball back.
Grizzlies lose 4, but they're happy just to have the ball. It'll be 2nd down 14 from Cloverleaf's 24.
Okay, we're temporarily have no picture at the moment, so will you keep the game going here by what we can tell you?
Back to the old radio days. Ian Cranston under center. He's got the tee. Here's Brian Madigan in motion right.
And there's a flag in the backfield.
More flags going down. Looks like we'll have a false start again on the Grizzlies. Look like motion on the right side of the line.
So you haven't missed anything.
Have you? Haven't missed anything?
Well, you haven't. Neither of the viewers at home by the camera crew.
Oh, you haven't missed any actual plays that have been legal. Grizzlies will lose 5, so it'll be 2nd down and 19, losing 4 on the fumble, and then 5 on the
second down and 20 here.
2nd and 20, as they lost 5 on the first play.
So we'll see if he goes to the passing game here.
Okay, Grizzlies setting up. 2nd down 20 from the Colts 29. Kind of a power running formation, 2 tight ends. And they'll go to the throw. Cranston hit as he throws, is picked off. Intercepted there by William Ludwig, number 61. He made the play, and the Grizzlies' drive comes to an end as Cranston was hit as he threw.
And that play wasn't obviously supposed to happen anywhere near like that. The ball was in, his arm was in motion, but as he got hit, he didn't quite get the momentum on it, and the ball didn't make it to its expected target. And the number 67 for the Cloverleaf Colts just looked up and had the ball right there, and he reached up and grabbed it and pulled it down.
You could tell that Ian Cranston, they were going with the 2 tight ends trying to sucker the Colts into thinking it was a running play. But the split end out to the left, who was Craig McNamara, was open on the play, but it was Matt Fortenwald of the Colts coming in and hitting Cranston, leading to the interception by Bill Ludwig.
And McNamara made the stop, or he could have been gone.
Now, Scott Gasper to throw on 1st down for the Colts. Looking for his favorite target, Scott Malarkey, and he led him a little too far on the left sideline.
Nice diving try by Malarkey, but not enough. It was just out of his reach.
Down to 5:01 in the first half. Still no score between the Colts and the Grizzlies. We are at Gene Clark Stadium in Lodi, and we are very glad you've joined us, and we're just looking forward to an outstanding season, hopefully the whole season of Grizzlies football here on WCTV. Ted Wright is the tailback, Matt Ford the fullback in the eye. Scott Gasper calls the signals. He will give it to Wright around left tackle. Grizzlies again trying to string it out, but some good blocking from the Colts. And he is still up, and he finally is brought down. Near a first down and a very late flag. There could be more pushing and shoving. McNamara and Levitt making the tackle for the Grizzlies, and it will be a personal foul on Cloverleaf, and that will wipe that play out.
And it was a good play, too. Wright had some good speed going there to get the ball around that left end.
Looks like tempers are getting the best of players on both sides very early in the first half of the first game. Very strange.
We said that in basketball too. It might just be the jitters, you know, that the teams are experiencing here as the first game out in the season. And this is a big game for both teams. You know, both teams trying to establish themselves for the season. Wadsworth showing that their 2-8 season last year isn't what's going to happen this year, and Cloverleaf trying to prove that their 9-1 season last year was no fluke.
A very good series of points, Dave.
Well,
in your first football game, Dave making his football debut.
I get the pat on the back.
From Bob Gorman, along with Dave Hayslip and Jeff Gorman, that's me, as we're bringing you Grizzlies action. Now we've got some more shenanigans, this time on the sidelines as they're trying to get the markers straight. The Grizzlies fans getting upset as it looked like they were moving the chains backwards along with the first down marker to make it 1st and 10 when it should be 1st and 25, and I guess it's the first game for the chain gang too.
Yeah, Jeff, it's you can tell we're here at a high school game. We got the usual hecklers out here in the stands, so yelling at the officials. Bringing me back to the days when we used to go to the football games out at our alma mater.
Oh yes. Heard someone
haven't changed in 6 years.
They sure haven't. Sure, they say it. Someone said it was the home field advantage here. Now Gasper, a little delay here. He's bottled up. And another flag, very late.
It's a late one.
Scott Gasper going down with the ship. Now we'll see who this flag is on. And it will be a personal foul against Wadsworth for a blow to the head on the quarterback, Scott Gasper.
I didn't see that. I didn't see anything being an intentional move in there. And number 64 is raising his hands like, what's going on out there?
That would be Mike Levitt, not to infer that he was the person who did that. We wouldn't want to get a lawsuit on our hands.
No, he's just not sure what that call came from.
I think he may be the defensive captain. He looks like he's been running the show out there. So that will make up 15 yards for the first penalty. We're right back to where we started, 1st and 10.
Although the scoreboard hasn't changed yet. 4:33 remaining here in the second quarter.
Now Scott Gasper, the Cloverleaf quarterback, still talking over the officials while half the team is in formation, half the team's in the huddle. So it's absolute chaos on the Cloverleaf side of the ball.
Playing under some seriously overcast skies here, hoping the rain holds off. It's been raining all day, but it's been pretty dry over the last hour and a half.
I think the field is drying out just a little bit. It is 2nd and 12, it turns out. Here's a pitch to Ted Wright, right tackle, breaks through the line, bounces off a few men, but finally making the stop is Shane Robinson.
Stays alive for an extra 3 or 4 yards there just by rolling and pushing and just trying to stay on his feet. Good movement by the running back for Cloverleaf.
Grizzlies have really kept Ted Wright from becoming a major, major problem. They've contained him for the most part.
He's yet to break loose with a big play. And
knock
that's what
on
they're really
wood.
afraid of. And there's plenty of wood around here to knock on.
Shane Robinson from the defensive tackle making the stop out on the sides, and that's the second time he's done that. So he shows great mobility for a defensive tackle. 3rd down and 7 after a gain of 5 by Ted Wright. Gasper to throw on 3rd and 7. Little dump out to Matt Ford, the fullback. He is being hassled, but now he breaks through for the first down just over midfield. A bunch of Grizzlies fall on him, but it will be a first down for the Colts.
And that play was made possible by the fact that the Grizzlies had a full rush going on there and left the line open, so they were able to get the little dump pass out there, and it looks like some good coaching there by they possibly anticipated that full rush and was able to get the dump pass off for the yards they got.
Craig McNamara making the stop from the free safety spot. He's done quite well, having a very good first half. 3:19 to go in the first half, so Cloverleaf doesn't have all the time in the world. Now we got a fumble. Everyone falling on it. We'll see who's got it.
Cloverleaf does have the ball.
As the referee making a very early, very definitive pro Cloverleaf decision there.
Out of the hole there. The snap, quarterback for Cloverleaf never got the snap, and Gasper just didn't get the ball, and it popped out. Everybody fell on it, and the ball kind of squirted back, and it was landed on by the fullback for Cloverleaf, who is
Matt Ford.
Was it Matt Ford?
Sort of a surprise. Steve Weaver is the starting center. He's a returning starter as a senior. So you'd expect that he and Gasper have made tons of exchanges. Maybe the ball's just getting a little slick.
Could be. We still have some wet conditions out there, and it's not dried up enough to make it ideal playing conditions yet.
No loss, and thereby no gain on the play. 2nd and 10, just a smidge over midfield. Here's Ted Wright. They come up, hit him at the line, falls forward for a few more, but again, the Grizzlies, Jason Joy making the stop.
It was actually a good stop behind the line. That's where the initial hit was made. And he fell forward and able to, you know, work a little bit more out of it, but he would have had a loss of yards there if he would have fallen down right then and there. Credit his power to get through there to...
I believe it was Mike Levitt who made that initial hit. Josh McCall helped out on the final hit. Pickup of 3, it'll be 3rd and 7, and we'll see if the Grizzlies can stop Gasper's passing game on 3rd and 7. Maybe get a chance to get the ball one more time, as we're just under 2 minutes and counting in the first half. Gasper to throw, has some time. Now he's being chased. A complete block in the back. I don't think we've seen a call. Gasper stopped short of the first down. Now we've got another hit, but a Grizzly would-be sacker was completely shoved from behind on that play. Ref was looking right at it, no call.
That's a good case, though, of the offensive line for Cloverleaf kind of falling apart there, and Gasper did not have a chance to get set and make a throw. Not sure who he was even looking for. He had to end up rolling out and trying to make something happen himself. He gained 5 on the play on the run himself, and they're going to go for it on 4th down.
4th down and 2, and the clock is still running down to 1:16, so you might as well if you're Coach Bobby Lake. Or Bob Lake.
If you're not Coach Bob Lake.
And now it's going to be right up the middle. He does have the first down, but the clock continues to tick down to, actually it stops now as they move the chains, 1:05 to go. Still 40 yards away from pay dirt are Cloverleaf. And we saw the quarterback / kicker, Scott Gasper, miss a 32-yard attempt.
I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like they're going to be trying to get it in field goal range. They want to get 6 points on the board here quick.
You figure you have to get all the way to the 15 to try a 32-yard field goal, so they still have a long way to go. And now it's not even certain that it's even a first down. So here comes the chain gang.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if it is a first down here, what Gasper decides to do. If he's going to try to go to the passing game, which he's been pretty good at so far, or if he's going to try to give it to the big man, Ted Wright.
Grizzlies ball.
My point is moot.
It sure is.
Well, the same holds true for the Grizzlies. It'll be interesting to see how they go for it. Pretty good passing game so far to Brian Madigan, but he's also been good in the backfield.
And another thing that we haven't touched on yet, Dave, the kicking game last year for the Grizzlies was really not a strong suit, we should say.
And that's being kind.
We're being kind here. And so we'll see how the kicking game goes if the Grizzlies will get a chance, see if they have some better luck. Grizzlies lining up in their base set. 2 halfbacks and a wingback. Here is Josh McCall, actually the fullback. No, this is Madigan. Madigan picks up about 5, but the clock's still going. Looks like the Grizzlies will burn a timeout here.
He had the good downfield blocking, but just couldn't get through the initial first couple guys there.
35 seconds now at the timeout. A couple seconds ticked off while the ball was dead. Grizzlies are going to have to also start calling those timeouts pretty quickly. We have no score with 35 seconds to go until halftime. Very evenly played game between a pair of teams who had uneven seasons last year. Grizzlies at 2-8, Colts at 9-1.
Both teams have had pretty decent drives so far, but both of them have been nothing doing. You know, the Cloverleaf came down, had a chance to score on the field goal, couldn't get anything going. After the Grizzlies' really good drive they had the last time down, that fumble really hurt them. Obviously.
So now we're going to see what the Grizzlies can do, as they are quite a ways away from field goal range. The Grizzlies band now in front of us on the Wadsworth sideline. Cheerleaders are on the sideline. Of course, the coaches and players. Seems like the entire Wadsworth community that's even associated with football, lots of fans, are here on this sideline. It's getting kind of crowded. Good thing I'm not claustrophobic. So the Grizzlies calling a timeout to stop the clock and also to get some strategy going here. We have 35 seconds to go until halftime. Looks like Ian Cranston should be putting the ball up. And no, he won't. He'll be giving it to Jason Knapp. He's buried just short of the line of scrimmage. It'll be another timeout. Looks like the timeout was called by Cloverleaf. No, it is on Wadsworth. So Wadsworth with one more timeout, but it looks like, despite being just around midfield, Grizzlies not throwing the ball.
Maybe they're going to try to set up for one big pass play as time might run out or something, just in case it gets picked off or something like that. You know, won't have to worry about, you know, one more chance for Cloverleaf to make a try.
That's right. In a close game and scoreless, it doesn't get any closer than that.
And given Madigan's ability to run so far, he might be just trying to get him down in a little better position so the Grizzlies won't have to throw so far. We have yet to see a deep pass thrown in this game. Most of them have been short outs to the side.
Well, when the Grizzlies start up, it'll be 3rd down and 5. They're back on their own 45, and the referee now blowing his whistle saying, let's break up the party, boys. A very nice night it's turned into. No rain yet during the actual game. Pretty
nice
seasonable
like
temperatures,
cool
about 70. Perfect. Great way to start the high school football season. 3rd down and 5. Madigan is the wing back left. He's in motion. They will fake it to him. Cranston running away from pressure, and he is dumped back down there by Matt Fordenwalt. So now it's going to be 4th and a long, long way.
And no timeout. There's timeouts finally called with 15 seconds left here in the first half.
And now it's Cloverleaf calling a timeout to try to save some time as they get the ball back. 15 seconds. Looks like it would be a punting situation for the Grizzlies.
There was the, looks like they were going to go for that long pass, and Cranston really rolled out and was going back so he could have some time to throw deep.
And the punting unit, Craig McNamara, number 11, and friends, coming onto the field. Ian Cranston went back there. He only had one man, and it looked like Fordenwalt kind of collapsed right onto him. So Cranston having some trouble with his footing back there as he's trying to maybe gain some more mobility if the rain will hold off, trying to get some more running in the second half. McNamara will punt. It's Scott Malarkey in single safety. There's only 15 seconds for the Colts to do anything. So if you're the Grizzlies, you might want to punt the ball out of bounds. McNamara fields it low, boots it towards out of bounds, and it bounces toward the 30, rolls to the 28, scooped up by Malarkey, makes one person miss, and a nice diving clip tackle, wouldn't say a clip, but taking out the feet was Jason Joy, number 6.
And that's going to leave 5 seconds left on the clock here. Last chance for Cloverleaf to do anything in this half. And they'll only have 5 seconds to make it. So it looks like, look for Gasper to go deep on this play.
It'll be Air Gasper here, and if the first half has taught us anything, he'll probably be looking for number 83, Scott Malarkey. He seems to be the only one that Gasper trusts so far.
And Malarkey hasn't been incredibly reliable, making only about half of his catches, I would say.
That's true. They haven't all been right on the money, but Malarkey has not been a
That's true.
glue finger.
His hands has not been the problem.
And they go with the trips, 3 receivers to the left, 1 back on an obvious passing down. 1st and 10 from the 35.
And
Gasper to throw, has some time, cranks it towards those 3 receivers. It's picked off by the Grizzlies. It is Jason Knapp with the interception. We'll see what the flag's about. Knapp has lots of room to run, heading towards the sideline, puts his head down, and the half is over, but we will see what the penalty is.
There was a flag on the play, though.
If the penalty's on Wadsworth, then that play will be nullified, but if it's on Cloverleaf, the half will end scoreless. We'll see what the thing is, what the penalty is, I should say. As the zebra stripes get coordinated here. Very nice run after the interception by Jason Knapp.
He got a good block out there. One guy that could have brought him down deep back there, and he got a good block out of it.
Might have been McNamara back there. He's had a good game so far. Seems to be an extensive conference, and the word is no word. Okay, bear with us. They seem to be talking to the Grizzlies.
Maybe deciding what the Grizzlies want to do on it. Gasper, the lone Cloverleaf Colt, in there to find out what's going on.
That will be a penalty on Cloverleaf nullified, and the half ends. So, at halftime, your score, Wadsworth nothing, Cloverleaf nothing. We will be back to talk about the first half and to bring you the second half of action on WCTV right after this. Stay tuned, folks. We're back at Gene Clark Stadium in Lodi, Wadsworth Community Television, bringing you a road game here as we start the 1993 football season. The Wadsworth Grizzlies and the Cloverleaf Colts scoreless tie at halftime. Quite surprising, Dad, as we're Jeff Gorman along with Bob Gorman, my dad, and Dave Hayslip. And Dad, very surprising the Grizzlies have been able to contain that rushing threat for the Colts, Ted Wright, so well, and I think you know the reason why.
Well, you're right. It has been a great defensive game. The real key to this has been that the Wadsworth Grizzlies are blessed with some really great linebackers. They have 4 fine linebackers. The linebackers have not been fooled by anything, and their lines of pursuit have been really, really good. They're all very sure tacklers by themselves in the open. They have a defense that they like to refer to their 4 linebackers affectionately as Willie, Sam, Pony, and Renegade. The Renegade back featured mostly has been Levitt, and he's just a really sure tackler, and he's been turning everything into the middle to get some pursuit. So it's kind of like keeping the Colts in their little corral. The Grizzlies have not been
good analogy.
They haven't been letting the Colts out of the corral, haven't been letting them to get wide and run on the sidelines, which is where they like to go. On offense, you may have noticed that we enjoyed some good runs right off the bat, Knapp and Madigan, because those 2 running backs have really good speed. The Colts looked like they were over-pursuing, probably part of the excitement of the game. They were pursuing very quickly inside, and both Knapp and Madigan, particularly Knapp, I noticed, has got that ability to give kind of a false line of running, and then he kicks it into another gear, swings it wide. And first, the Colts were biting on that and getting burned. Then I think they changed their lines. They started staying in lanes a little bit better, and you saw that they started to shut it down. So I think the key to this game is going to be both teams have great linebackers. We'll see which offense is able to crack that and get into the second half.
All right, you have to credit Coach Ramsey Shepard coming up with an offensive scheme now that really suits the talents of his players. He knows he has Jason Knapp and Brian Madigan, both with good speed and good body control. He's been alternating them, one at halfback, one at wingback, and they've really caused the Colts fits on the end sweeps, as Dad was talking about earlier. Now, we have no score at halftime. The best drive for the Colts came to an end when they stalled out at the Wadsworth 15, and that's when Scott Gasper tried a 32-yard field goal, and that was wide to the right. Gasper made 4 field goals last year, and his longest one was 42, so he can put it through, but he didn't there. The Grizzlies also drove to the Colts 15, but their drive stalled on a sack and a penalty, and then Cranston to throw. He was intercepted as he was belted by Matt Fordenwalt, and the ball was intercepted by William Ludwig. So neither team has been able to get much going otherwise, and only 1 turnover in the game, and that has actually, there's been an interception on each side, as Jason Knapp with an interception very late in the first half, and Knapp with a very long run to end out the half, but it didn't go in. So the Grizzlies are going to try to keep it close here. The defense has really been a strength throughout the years. Even last year, as the Grizzlies posted a 2-8 record, Wadsworth still had a very, very tough defense. It was just offense and kicking that did the Grizzlies in, and those are the areas in which Coach Ramsey Shepard has tried to improve. And Dave, you have some notes for us as well.
Well, I want to make a little comment here. The technical staff would like to apologize for the technical difficulties of the first half. I guess it turns out that the wiring here at the stadium isn't quite fit for our advanced technology that we brought with us with the cam van. So everything's rewired, and hopefully we're going to be able to bring you some better technical coverage here in the second half, as we have 2 cameras once again functional, as well as our commentary functional, if you want to call it that.
Now, as you recall, the Cloverleaf Colts won the toss at the beginning of the game, and they decided to defer the decision until now. The Grizzlies decided to take the first half kickoff, and now it will be Cloverleaf on the left side of your screen receiving the second half kickoff. Ted Wright is the back on the right side facing you, and Nelson Mooney, number 8, is the back on the left. So the Grizzlies will be kicking left to right. Wadsworth getting set to go for the second half.
The Grizzlies will be moving right to left on your screen. The Colts moving left to right.
Number 76, George set to kick off for the Grizzlies. No score here in Lodi against the Cloverleaf Colts. Get set for a hard-hitting second half of action as you are right there at the game on Wadsworth Community Television. This is Nelson Mooney. He's over to the 30 now, and he dances through traffic. Finally, a bunch of Grizzlies fall on top of him. And he's out to the 36, a pretty nice return. And Josh McCall making the stop along with Josh Hendricks, pair of Joshes on the tackle.
By Josh.
And we're not joshing as the as the Colts come to the line.
It was bound to happen, and it happened at the beginning of the second. At least we waited till the second half.
We were doing so good, weren't we? Okay, Scott Gasper's number 1. He's the quarterback. And the fullback is Matt Ford. The tailback is the dangerous Ted Wright, whom the Grizzlies have corralled so far, as Dad told you about during the break. Here is Wright trying up the middle. Flag down. We could have holding as the Grizzlies' interior line able to make the stop.
Well, the fans seem to think it's
Shane Robinson with another fine play, number 44. Yes?
So the fans seem to think it's holding.
And we will see. It is holding on Cloverleaf.
And George made the stop on that play.
Helped out by Shane Robinson. As Cloverleaf has had trouble going around the ends, and they decided to try the middle, but nothing going there either. Grizzlies have been solid so far on defense.
The defensive line for the Grizzlies strengthened by Hendricks and George in there. Not to be confused with George Hendricks, who was a baseball player for the California Angels. Or Jimi Hendrix.
That's true. As the Grizzlies get a 10-yard penalty against the Colts, actually, so it is 1st and 20 back on the Colts 25.
It was contrived, but I had to get my musical analogy in there.
That wasn't contrived much. Gasper looks to throw here, tries the short side of the field, and cutting across, making the play, is Brent Fiala.
Fiala was right between the coverage there, and a good pass by Gasper right on the numbers.
And Fiala picks up 20 yards and a first down, so immediately they nullify that penalty.
And I'm sure that's something that the coaches obviously talked to the players about during halftime. They might have noticed that, figured out a little bit more about the Grizzlies' defense and figured out a way to stop them, and found that there might have been a hole there between the secondary and the line there.
And a nice ploy there by Scott Gasper. Usually when he goes back, he's throwing to the side with 2 receivers. That's the first time he's gone to the short side, and Brent Fiala picks up 20. Now Gasper looks to throw again to the side with 2 receivers. There's Malarkey. He is belted, and he's picks up about 8.
Good play. That'll be first down.
Brian Madigan makes the stop. He had a little bit of help from Josh McCall.
So first down for the Colts.
As they pick up 10 more.
On 2 and 1. Well, it was 2 and 1 before that play.
Scott Gasper, a very dangerous person. He didn't throw any touchdown passes, obviously, as it's a scoreless game. He did throw 1 interception. Last year, 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. So usually, Gasper's quite efficient. Here's Wright trying to bounce to the left side. Getting chased, another flag, and he's still up. We may have another holding call that may nullify this very fine run by Ted Wright.
Flag was in the backfield, which is usually an indication of offensive holding.
And it looks like the Colts got away with a big clip in the first half, you remember, on that pass play. But now we'll see. Looks like a Honda Accord left their lights on inside the car. And if you haven't found it by halftime, you could be calling AAA. Just go right to the phone, call them now.
So if any of you viewers at home drove out to the game and are watching the game at home, it's your car.
Actually, they're probably not home. They're probably still here as we do a little time warp again.
Well, that was meant to be like a case of something that actually couldn't be possible for them to have driven here and then be home watching the game at the same time. Although that actually is possible due to our time delay here. I'll just shut up.
I've known you for 8 years, Dave, and I still don't follow your way of thinking. That is going to be, it looks like, a titanically large penalty. They've marked off 10 yards from the spot of the hold. So that is a 17-yard penalty as the hold took place 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. 1st and 27 for the Colts back on their own 36. What a big penalty. Gasper looking to throw, looking for Malarkey again. This time, again, he is able to break a tackle. And now we have another flag, and it looks like they might have a late hit. as it was a late call. Brian Madigan on the stop. But these refs have been very trigger happy with those flags.
Especially here in the first game of the season. And I think the Grizzlies would be able to hold off this passing game that Gasper's had so far if the cornerbacks could realize that just about every time that Gasper's passing on the outside, the receiver is catching the ball and cutting to the inside. And every single time, the Grizzlies cornerbacks are going for the tackle on the outside and are getting juked every single time.
Fortunately, another man has been there to make the play. That time it was Josh McCall. It was a late flag, but it was another holding call on Cloverleaf. Very odd there. Looks like they've lost one more yard.
Actually 3. It's 1st and 30 now.
That's right. That play took place 7 yards in front of the line of scrimmage, so the holding makes it 1st and 30.
A lot of first down chances here, but it's getting longer and longer till they get to the end of that red marker that signifies a whole new set of downs.
Pretty soon it's going to be 1st in Kentucky. Gasper in trouble, tries to dump it off to right. He's got it, but he slips and falls.
And that might be even for a loss of yards as well.
It's not going to be first down this time. Now it's going to be 2nd and 31. As Craig McNamara fell on him, but when you're down,
you're down.
You're down in high school. You don't have to be touched.
As long as the knee's down.
Or you could not even tackle him at all. He's as down as the day is long. 2nd and 31.
How long is the day, Jeff?
It's getting longer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The Colts are on their own 31. They have to get to the Grizzlies 35 to get a first down. Or something like that. In the eye, Scott Gasper with a long count. Now he's back to throw. He pumps. Now he's looking upfield, but he has no... Now he's going to throw it upfield. Very over everybody. And the only man who could have gotten it was Grizzly free safety, Craig McNamara. He was going for Brent Fiala, but he overthrew everybody, even the defense. That'll make it 3rd and 31. And if this isn't a passing down, I don't know what is.
Well, Jeff, so far in the game, one of the coach's concerns before the game was how well the juniors could fill in at the key positions for the Grizzlies, and it seems like they've done a pretty good job so far. So maybe the Grizzlies are on their way to a little bit better season if the juniors continue to contribute like they have so far today, although they haven't done much on offense as far as scoring goes, but wouldn't be for a lack of bad play, I'd say, or good play, lack of good play.
Unfortunately, the Grizzlies have enough seniors sprinkled in at the different positions. They have George and Shane Robinson on the line, Craig McNamara back there in the backfield, and Jason Joy at linebacker. Up the middle is right, spinning and brought down very, very short of the first down.
Not even back to the original line of scrimmage. He's about 15 yards shy of that.
Jason Joy helping out on the stop, as well as Mike Levitt. It's going to be 4th and 20-something, 21 exactly. So Scott Gasper will punt. Gets a perfect snap. Jake Carmody now back. Actually, staying away from it now. Carmody lets it drop, and the Grizzlies will have relatively good position at about the 31.
Well, while the teams are changing here, we want to run down the Wadsworth schedule for you so you know what the Grizzlies have coming up as far as the season goes.
Plan your fall around this schedule.
Oh, wait. It'd be helpful if I looked at the right team.
Go ahead.
Don't want to look at the Copley Indians. Okay, the Wadsworth Grizzlies have 3 non-league games opening this season. Of course, this one at Cloverleaf. Next week, they'll be at home for the home opener against Cuyahoga Falls. Then they go to Medina for their 3rd and last non-league game.
And we'll get to the conference schedule after this. And those non-conference opponents, in fact, the entire schedule, the exact same teams that they played last year. And Cranston with a little delay. Oh, a very nice fake there as he gives it to the fullback Josh McCall. Picks up about 6. And Cranston fooled everybody, including me, as Cranston was buried by 2 defenders of the Colts. Okay, you were saying?
Okay, the Grizzlies Suburban League Conference first game of the season kicks off against Talmadge. That one's at home on September 24th. They'll follow that game with a trip to Norton, then return home for a game against Copley. Then they'll go on the road again against Greene, then have 2 straight home games on October 22nd and 29th against Hudson Revere, and then finish up the season at Highland.
Okay, Jason Knapp in the game. He is in motion. They'll give it to Knapp. He cuts back and he's buried. Looks like that was actually Brian Madigan. He lost about 5 there as Bill Ludwig led the charge for the Colts. apologize. It's getting a little hard to see the numbers out here as they pick up dirt. Grizzlies road uniforms white with light red numbers.
A little more about the Grizzlies' schedule here. In the Suburban League, Revere, Green, Talmadge, and Hudson are predicted to be the top 4 teams in the division, and the Grizzlies have to play 3 of those teams in the final 3 weeks of the season. So they could play the late season spoiler if they're not in the chase themselves.
And they should be pretty seasoned by the time they get to face those guys. Cranston pumps, looks to the left. We may have pass interference here, and I don't think we're going to get a call. And it looks like Brian Madigan is pretty upset as number 8 was in his face. That was Nelson Mooney. He had a hand in Madigan's face. Again, ref looking at it. Again, no call.
Very bad call on that. That was definite pass interference from our vantage point here.
And that was a very important call too, because now it's 4th and 8. The Grizzlies drive now scuttled. Looks like they had a very open and shut case on pass interference.
Good job by the cornerbacks of Cloverleaf there covering the play, but he was all over him actually, and that's just not allowed. And looks like they get away with their second freebie of the night.
Scott Malarkey set to receive Craig McNamara's punt. McNamara's down. Grizzlies fall on it. And again, we have no call as McNamara went down. No roughing the punter. So some odd officiating, we might say.
We've seen a lot of officiating, but just not in some of the more obvious spots, it seems. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again,
say it.
You'll have that.
You'll have that. 5:37 to go in the 3rd quarter. Still no score between the hometown Cloverleaf Colts and the Wadsworth Grizzlies, and we're very glad that you joined us on this visiting, our first road game here on WCTV. Thanks to the boys in the cam van. And you'll be seeing the cam van all over the community. Just you wait. 3 Wadsworth players jumps, the flags fly, and that's going to be encroachment. So it's going to be 1st and 5. Encroachment. So now, with a 1st and 5 situation, we may see Scott Gasper try to pull something out of his bag of tricks. You have more of a margin for error on 1st and 5. So the defensive backfield will have to be careful here. Again, the base set, the I formation for the Cloverleaf Colts with Matt Ford at fullback and Ted Wright at tailback. Quarterback Scott Gasper looking to the side, looks for Fiala. He juggles it, and he is crushed. Very nice play. And that was Brian Madigan, and Brian Madigan shows you how you do that play. He was perhaps the victim of some uncalled pass interference. Madigan waited until Fiala had touched the ball, then he buried him. It'll be 2nd down and 5. As Fiala comes back, as he collects himself, he's on the near side of the field. Malarkey and Itu are the 2 receivers at the top. He likes to go to the inside man, Malarkey. A turn, a give to Wright. Wright bounces to the outside. Lots of Grizzlies in pursuit. And he's brought down after a gain of about 4. But after the penalty, it's pretty near 1st down.
Good job for Wright, because that play looked like it was designed to go a little bit more toward the center, a little around the left side there. But he ended up cutting outside after we saw the gap, and he saw the hole close on the inside. Took off around the outside.
And again, as Dad mentioned in halftime, Josh McCall, the inside linebacker, stayed home on that. And they were able to turn Ted Wright back towards the middle. It's going to be a measurement here, although it looks like it's a little short. Look in your program. That's a picture of the Varsity football coaches. We're down to 4:37 in the 3rd quarter, still no score. And when it gets this late and there's no score, that's when defense and turnovers become very important. The game can turn on any least mistake, and that's what makes it so exciting. I don't have to tell you how exciting. You already know.
Well, it is indeed a 1st down. So Cloverleaf has a new set of downs as they line up at about the 48-yard line.
Okay, 1st down for Scott Gasper and the boys of the Cloverleaf Colts. And the Grizzlies have done a pretty good job so far of containing. Here's Matt Ford, the fullback, and he is immediately stacked up. A lot of help there. Mike Levitt finishing it off.
Forward progress, he might have gotten a couple feet on that, but not much more than a yard.
Josh Hendrick, and he's the left defensive tackle, and he immediately made the play on Matt Ford.
And Levitt helped out on that a little bit.
Coach Ramsey Shepard must really like Hendrick. He's played center last year, moves to offensive guard, and he's starting there while starting at the defensive tackle. He and George are going to be counted on both sides of the ball this year.
2nd down and 9, 3:50 left in the 3rd quarter.
Here is Wright. He's going to try left tackle, and now he's got some blocking, and he is, I believe, towards a first down for the Colts.
So they seem to have abandoned the passing game a little bit here in this part of the drive, going mostly with the run, or entirely with the run.
Well, the Grizzlies may be getting a little bit tired. They've been on the field for a while now with all the penalties, so just length of time they've been there a long time. And Ted Wright's starting to take advantage, and his legs seem to be pretty fresh. He gets the first down at the 38-yard line of the Grizzlies. Gasper again with a long count. He's looking to the weak side. Now he's being chased. Now he needs a friend. He tosses and is out of bounds looking for Fiala. Madigan had the outside on him, and good pursuit there. A lot of help by the Grizzlies.
And Gasper talking to the ref, seeming to think that there's a little bit of misdoing on the Grizzlies side there. He seemed to be a little bit disgusted with the way that the Grizzlies were treating him.
Mike Levitt, again, he's all over the place on the play, pressuring the ball. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10 from the Grizzlies 37, I believe it is. And now they go with Fiala by himself on the far side and 2 receivers scrunched to the top of your screen. Looks like the tight end moved. Here comes Ted Wright. He's tripped up in the backfield.
No flag on the play.
Nice stop again by Josh McCall. That time, instead of staying home, he shot through and made the tackle. He picked up about, he lost one actually. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Ball on about the 38-yard line.
Very, very important down here for the Grizzlies. They want to stop any offensive momentum of the Colts and get the ball back. Keep this game scoreless until the Grizzlies can score. Big play here. Gasper to throw. Has some time, throws it deep, and it is overthrown again. And a push from behind, and
there's a flag in the backfield. Looks like it might be a late hit again.
But Craig McNamara got away with a late hit in the Wadsworth secondary. He shoved down Malarkey well after the play had ended, and he really got away with one. Now we'll see what this flag is in the backfield. Could be a hold. It is a, seems to be a personal foul almost.
Oh, personal foul?
Looks like it, but it's on Cloverleaf.
Wow, that's interesting.
I don't see why an offensive team would commit a personal foul when they're on offense trying to keep the quarterback.
It was a very late flag too, and the quarterback was already down, so I'm not sure where it came from. So, we were kind of watching the play as opposed to what was going on back there, but
so this is an interesting decision by Coach Ramsey Shepard. You either nullify the play and go for 4th down and get a punt, but actually it looks like he's taking the yardage and making it 3rd and 21, giving them another crack at it, only farther back.
Make it 3rd and 26.
So it looks like he's actually taking the field position instead of taking the easy punt. So we'll have to see if
actually
Dad away from the mic saying that he has confidence in his secondary.
It's going to be 4th down at 26.
Right.
It looks like since the play came after the play was finished, they're going to tack the yardage on to the end of the play and make it 4th down and 26.
So you lose the down and the yard. So no risk there taken at all by Ramsey Shepard.
So this is a big break for the Grizzlies, as they're going to be in such a deep hole back in the Cloverleaf territory.
Oh, a big rush and a good job by the Grizzlies. They didn't block it, but they didn't hit the kicker as well. Very good body control back there by Craig McNamara. And the Grizzlies are going to get pretty good field position.
At the 30-yard line.
Looks like Jason Joy also in there on that good punt rush.
Remember, if you had the same situation and without that penalty, they'd be on the 15 right now as opposed to the 30. So it gives them a lot more room to operate. And the Grizzlies really caught a break there by that call against the Colts.
So we mentioned what a big play that 3rd and 11 was. Not only the Grizzlies get the ball, but they get better field position. Now Grizzlies go to their base set. 2 tight ends and a wingback. Actually, 2 halfbacks and a wingback. Up the middle is McCall. McCall bowling forward, and he picks up about 6. Bill Ludwig making the tackle. Picks up 6. Not bad. McCall has really proven to be effective as a fullback. Grizzlies having to incorporate 3 new running backs now. Looks like Madigan a little shaken up with the knee.
Second down and 4. Minute 33 remaining in the third quarter. No score.
Brian Thompson coming off the field, and the Grizzlies calling a timeout, and that's good because people were switching around due to the injury, and now Wadsworth, wisely I'd say, taking a timeout. We have no score. We have 1:29 left to go in the third quarter. It doesn't get more of a defensive struggle than this. Both teams in the early going, their defense is obviously working much better than the offense. So
neither offense has acquired or has gained much more than over maybe 100 yards total offense, if even that. With the penalties and everything, they might not even have reached 100 yards yet.
Looks like a cramp in the leg on Madigan. It looks like he should be okay.
Should be able to stretch that out there.
Serious. As Madigan is one of the few threats that's really broken loose for the Grizzlies, he and Jason Knapp. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies do come up with a touchdown, if it would be the fleet feet of Knapp or Madigan that comes up with it. Ian Cranston has had limited success in the passing game as the quarterback. He hasn't tried to throw very much.
And a firework went off here.
Grizzlies mostly keeping it on the ground.
Coming out of the Cloverleaf area.
That's rather odd.
Might have heard that sound like a bottle rocket or something like that. No damage done.
4th of July was over a couple months ago tomorrow. Second and 5 rather. Up the middle again, they try McCall, and he is about a yard shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. I was trying to say, McCall stepping in along with Jason Knapp and Brian Madigan, 3 starting running backs, as the Grizzlies lost both starting running backs to graduation, as they were tailback Sean DeShazi and fullback Chris Medges, both of whom were very good threats.
You got a towel on you, Jeff?
3rd down 1. And the Grizzlies now crossing everybody up with a full house backfield, and they'll switch around to sort of a modified wishbone. They'll give it to the tailback.
Ahead for some good yardage.
Breaking through, and that was, I believe, Madigan for the first down.
And he had a clear hole there. Very good play, good shift in the backfield just before the play began.
Credit George on the inside with the good blocking job there.
So the Grizzlies have a first down with under a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Nearing the half-minute mark. Should get this play off just about at 30 seconds.
Jason Joy now lines up in a T formation in the backfield at fullback. And they will give it to Joy. Joy comes ahead for about 3 or 4. Grizzlies look like they are keeping the ball on the ground.
And hustling, too. They're getting the plays off quick. I don't think they're going to get another one off here before the half, or before the end of the quarter.
I think Coach Ramsey Shepard trying to realize the futility of both offenses here. If he can just piece together a ball control drive, maybe the Grizzlies can come up with at least a field goal. This could conceivably be a 3-0 game.
And it'll be a true test to see how the kicking game for the Grizzlies can work this year. They lost a few close ones last year because the kicking game couldn't come through. So this would be a definite case where the kicking game has to come through for them.
Definitely.
Based on your scenario.
And if the Grizzlies can knock off a powerhouse team like Cloverleaf here in Lodi, that would be a huge feather in Coach Ramsey Shepard's cap to start off the '93 season.
Well, remember, go ahead, Jeff.
We've reached the end of the third quarter. We should say still no score between Wadsworth and Cloverleaf.
Well, remember, Jeff, that the Grizzlies only 2 years ago in '91 posted a 7-0 record in the Suburban League and an 8-2 record. So last year was just like a really down turn for them. So if they can win a big game here in the opener of the season, you know, they might carry that all the way through the season. And they're not, a lot of these guys might remember that, you know, the season from '91, a lot of the seniors, and know what it's like to be on a winning team. And this might be giving them the boost that they need to, you know, carry that through the rest of the season.
A very good point there as the Grizzlies about to come back out. Trying to piece together a drive. Remember, it was that big penalty on Cloverleaf on their 3rd and 11. The pass didn't work anyway, but the dead ball personal foul gave the Grizzlies 15 extra yards to work with, and that could really come in handy as the Grizzlies now with pretty good field position on their 40, just over their own 45. Second down.
They'll be moving left to right on your screen.
That's true. Jason Knapp is the wingback on the near side of your screen. And they will give it, immediately hit and immediately tackle this Brian Madigan. He is belted and he lost about 6.
Big hit by Bill Ludwig. He just shot right through there untouched and made a huge play.
As soon as Madigan got the ball, he was wearing Bill Ludwig, number 61.
And I don't think he fit too well, according to Madigan.
Ludwig thought the fit was just right. They lost 5 on the play. Grizzlies faced 3rd and 13, and now the passing attack, which has not really tried to do much, almost has to do much right here.
Be interesting to see if they go for maybe a little dump screen or something, see if the defense will be doing a little bit of a blitz or a rush or something here.
And 2 tight ends, sort of strange here. Cranston rolling to his right, tosses it and towards the sidelines and into the sidelines. He was intending that one for the split end, Craig McNamara.
And the blitz was on.
Cranston doing a good job of at least throwing the ball out of bounds if he didn't have the man, or didn't have the time to get the ball there.
And there's a Cloverleaf player down on the field.
I believe that is, yes, a Cloverleaf player, as you said.
Yeah, he is wearing green and gold. Can't really see a number right now.
We will see. It's going to be number 6 for them. Talking about a party after the game.
The announcer's announcing a party. I've never had quite this large a crowd been hearing a party announced for him before. 11-12 remaining in the 4th quarter. It's going to be 4th and 13 for the Grizzlies. No score, and a Cloverleaf player down on the field, so an official timeout.
I believe that's Nelson Mooney, and now the Wadsworth Water Girls going out and taking advantage of the free timeout to give their team some refreshment. 11-12 to go, and this game is getting down to the nitty-gritty. Neither team has given an inch on the scoreboard.
The way both teams have been having, they've been using a lot of time on offense. So if Cloverleaf does the same as they've been doing the rest of the game, Wadsworth may only have one more shot to put some points on the board here.
That's right, and although the Grizzlies have done a good job containing Scott Gasper at quarterback and Ted Wright at running back, it's not going to do any good unless they continue to do so. You know, you have to make sure you play all 4 quarters. And it looks like the field has dried up considerably. That is actually 61. That is Bill Ludwig, the man who's made a lot of plays, including that big interception that halted the Grizzlies' best drive back in the 2nd quarter, I believe.
And he's now jogging off the field, so he should be returning in a few plays, I'm sure, here.
Okay, Craig McNamara set to punt for Wadsworth on 4th and 13. And it's going to be Malarkey, Scott Malarkey, and Brett Fiala. And neither of them wants it. And the ball will be down by the Grizzlies on the 42.
Good field position for the Colts.
Wadsworth's going to have to hold here.
To Wadsworth's credit, they were kicking into the wind on this particular well, actually, the wind is blowing from the far side of the field to the near side. But
you're right. They did kick into the wind. And I believe Cloverleaf also, when they won the toss, they made it so they had the wind at their backs here in the 4th quarter, as they do right now.
But as you might have noticed, Gasper has been overthrowing the ball, so having the wind at your back may not help you in this situation, the way he's been throwing so far.
Brent Fiala joins Scott Malarkey on the left side, and now we've got a timeout as Cloverleaf a bit confused. So each team down to 2 timeouts left in the game.
10:45 remaining with no score in the 4th quarter.
This gives us a chance to tell you that we will be bringing you, if all goes well, all 10 Wadsworth Grizzlies football games this year, so you can follow your favorite team, your hometown team, all throughout the season. And I hope you're taping this because it makes a great collector's item, especially for the Wadsworth Grizzly in your life. And next week, we will be coming to you in our home opener from Art Wright Memorial Stadium in Wadsworth as the Grizzlies take on Coach Don Ross and the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers. And we will see how Cuyahoga Falls does in their opener and see what we hope to expect from them. Covered a couple of games for the Cuyahoga Falls newspaper, and I tell you, Don Ross, their coach, is a very intense man. When you win, you're very happy to be around him because he really shares in the jubilation. But if you are on the losing side, you don't want to be wearing the same colors he will because he is one angry man.
Falls plays Firestone tonight, and Firestone a pretty good football team.
I believe Cuyahoga Falls favored by most of the local pundits in that game. Gasper to throw on 1st down. Wide open on this side is Fiala. He makes the catch on his knees, and he will get ahead to the 49, but I'm surprised. And the one official making a heads-up call saying he is down as he caught it because he did catch it on his knees.
So the officials are heads up this time.
Yes, a gain of only 4 as opposed to 8. it will be, and the clock is ticking as well, so he didn't go out of bounds illegally either. Down to 10:23 to go here in the fourth quarter. And we'd like to thank you very much for joining us. We really love to do these games for you and share in the excitement of Wadsworth sports.
The band playing Hang On Sloopy in the background here.
And that's not only Ohio State football's theme song, it's the actual fight song of the state of Ohio. And remember, Ohio hasn't needed a fight song since the 1840s when they were about to hook them up with Michigan. Here's Ted Wright getting over midfield to the 49 of the Grizzlies. He is about half a yard short of a Cloverleaf first down. Shane Robinson on the stop for the Grizzlies, and Mike Levitt as well.
It'll be a 3rd and short, and we'll see probably Wright getting the ball again, heading straight up the middle and trying to gain that little bit of yardage. They're going to measure.
Calling for a measurement. I believe that Mike Levitt signaled to his coach that they had in fact gotten the first down. We'll see if he's correct.
And it is indeed first down. So a good measurement for Cloverleaf.
Player. It is at about the 48-yard line of the Grizzlies, and now it's going to be a very important series of downs here, because not only do the Grizzlies want to hold Cloverleaf, they don't want Cloverleaf to get too deep into their own territory, because field position has been very important.
And even if Cloverleaf gets in field goal range and would miss a field goal, remember the Grizzlies would have to start at the 20, and that's pretty deep in their territory.
That's true. Here's Ted Wright trying right guard, and he falls forward for about 1 or 2.
And the clock ticks down to 9:27 left here in the fourth quarter.
Nice stop by Jason Joy on the play. Also, Kevin Montgomery making the stop as well. First time we've seen him. He is the biggest man on the team at 6'6", 305. That is 3 pounds more than Hulk Hogan. Gasper rolling, throwing across the middle and caught just over for a first down. And that is Gavlak, Craig Gavlak, making the play at the split end position. The first catch for him on the game.
Very nice pass by Gasper. He threaded it right down the middle and right into coverage. There were 3 guys on the receiver there.
And you got to credit Gavlak making the catch as he is down. He was pasted.
So another official timeout
on, that is.
With 8:51. And we're going to have another measurement here.
His prone body is over in first down territory, so I guess that means that it's probably going to be another Cloverleaf first down.
They're going to measure his body, and yes, his body is indeed over the first down marker.
Sort of a morbid way of measuring a first down. No.
And it's short by a few inches, although his body, like you said, is a first down.
I guess they go by the ball and not the carcass.
So the announcer's saying that's a lot less than a few inches. So maybe a blade of grass or 3 separating Cloverleaf from a first down and a third down here.
8:51, the time left in the game. It's going to be 3rd and inches for the Cloverleaf Colts. They are on the Grizzlies 39, so Wadsworth having to put the clamps on Cloverleaf here. As Gaflak walking off the field pretty much under his own power.
Probably just a little shaken up there. Like you said, he got hit immediately and pretty hard.
Okay, still, despite the who seem to be running down, still 3 wide receivers. Actually, there are 2 tight ends, so there are only 2 wide receivers. Gasper tries to take it himself, and I believe he has it. That's almost always the best play on 3rd and real short. Just give it to the quarterback and let him go. Jim McMahon always did that for the Chicago Bears when they won the Super Bowl in '85. He did that a lot. Of course, it also helped to give it to William Perry and let his 320-some pounds lug it over. Remember one play in the Super Bowl, Walter Payton scored a touchdown. Actually, it would have been a touchdown.
No, Walter Payton didn't score the touchdown.
He didn't.
He never scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
He would have, but William Perry actually tried to take his body and throw it over the goal line, and the referee said, no, illegal use of hands.
Although Perry did score a touchdown in that game, and a lot of people were miffed that Walter Payton, playing in what perhaps was his final season, they thought, didn't get a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
And Walter Payton, the all-time leading rusher in NFL history, a surefire Hall of Famer, William Perry, may go down as nothing more than a novelty.
As is not much more than a kitchen appliance.
Yes, a very big one at that. Back to Lodi we are now. Cloverleaf with the ball. A first down. Oh, a nice fake there. Matt Ford, the fullback, keeps it. And the Grizzlies strip the ball. We're going to see who got it. Wadsworth says they have it. Cloverleaf says they have it.
Well, that's typical.
Josh McCall stripped the ball, but the Cloverleaf Colts do have the ball. You could tell McCall spun Matt Ford around and just took a swipe at the ball, but fortunately for the Colts, they were able to fall on it.
Gain of about probably 4 on the play.
And the PA announcer saying a couple of the Grizzlies rooting around for the ball, not unlike a couple of pigs looking for truffles. Not a very good characterization by the Cloverleaf PA man. Pick up a 4 by Ford, and it's 2nd and 6 on the Grizzlies 35. Try to get the Grizzlies off sides. Right slips and falls, and a nice tackle there as well. Mike Levin helping out there, as well as George, another man the Grizzlies are looking to on both sides of the ball. George, a very pugnacious fellow, good low center of gravity, and he can move bodies on both sides.
He's important in there. He may not make a play every single time, but his presence in there is really important. He brings a lot of leadership to the team as well. Third
down and 8. George stopping him for a loss of 2.
7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the 4th quarter.
And one of the fans urging the Grizzlies to watch out for a screen pass. That's a good point because Scott Gasper has gone to Scott Malarkey, who's now on the left side often. Fake handoff. He's looking toward Malarkey. Now he's looking for some help. Running away. George is chasing him. Everyone's chasing him. He slips and falls short of the first down by a lot.
And a big defensive series for the Grizzlies here.
Jason Joy making the stop. Very big play. Joy has been a quiet star here for the Grizzlies in this game. And now it's a question of what will the Colts do? They are going to punt.
The Grizzlies had a very good defensive series there. You saw the strip, and the possible fumble, almost a fumble there by the Colts, and just good defense all around.
This would be a 55-yard field goal if they would try it, but Gasper not doing a good job on that punt, belting it into the end zone. So a net of only 18 yards on the punt. Wadsworth has 6 minutes and 17 seconds to go in regulation, and they will start from the 20.
And they've got to put it all together now and learn from their past mistakes that they've had and come alive with a very strong, good drive here. Possibly open up the passing game a little bit more and get Madigan involved in the passing game again.
Dave advising the Grizzlies to come alive just like Peter Frampton.
A la
Peter Frampton back in the 70s with his album Peter Frampton Comes Alive. Now, also we mentioned on that last series.
We should have mentioned that.
Yes, that was the important series when the Grizzlies had to clamp down, and they didn't wait. They clamped down on that series. 1st and 10 for the Grizzlies. We'll see what Ian Cranston, the quarterback, does. Little delay, and it looks like McCall may have coughed it up, and it goes to Cloverleaf.
So just as soon as the Grizzlies have a good defensive series.
Now we have a flag afterwards. And Gavlak, the walking wounded from that previous play, was able to come up with it. And now we have a personal foul on the Grizzlies, and that bodes even worse for Ramsey Shepard's crew.
And the personal foul will be tacked on after the point where the fumble was recovered. So it's going to be excellent position for Cloverleaf.
The fumble was picked up at about the 20. The personal foul brings the ball to about the 10. Ooh.
So we'll have to rephrase our thinking here. Not only was that last defensive series major important, even more so now is the defense for the Grizzlies. We'll see how they can come alive in this. Probably their biggest pressure situation, well, obviously their biggest pressure situation of the game, but
although there's just about 6 minutes, 6:05 and counting left in this game, it may be considered do or die time for the Grizzlies defense here. And that was a big fumble and penalty back-to-back, a double whammy. Let's see if the Grizzlies can recover. Scott Gasper, number 1, calling the signals. He will give it to the fullback. Matt Ford spins away. And he gets a good second effort down to about the 3. A very good run for Matt Ford, his best. And it was Josh McCall again with another big defensive play.
So the ball is spotted about the 3-yard line. And we'll see if the ball is going to be given to Wright, the first-year player for Cloverleaf, although he's a 4th-year
2nd down and 3 now.
Player overall.
From the 5. So they can't get a first down without getting a touchdown. Here is Ted Wright, and he is buried.
Good penetration by number 79 for the Grizzlies.
Josh Hendricks.
Really getting in there.
George's big play, and now his counterpart, Josh Hendricks, another good play.
Wright tried to move right through that right side, and he had nothing going, just a wall of red Grizzlies.
He lost one. It's going to be 3rd down. He lost a couple. 3rd down and 5 from the Grizzlies 7. Another very big play coming up here for the Wadsworth on defense. You mentioned that Ted Wright will be the man they have to stop. That may be the case on this down as well. 3rd and 5. Gasper tries to get the Grizzlies to come off sides. Here comes Wright again, bounces to the outside, and he's tripped up. A very nice play, and this time it was George with Jason Joy making the final hit. George hung on to the ankle of Ted Wright and would not let go. What a big money play by George.
So now we'll see how good a kicker Gasper can be with very, very short yardage here for this field goal.
Whoa, that was a very big defensive play. Jason Joy making the final hit, but boy, George hanging on to the ankle, and that's the ball game right there. Clamping down like a pit bull.
Well, possibly.
Timeout Cloverleaf.
Possibly the ball game.
Well, possible ball game.
They could score on this.
They could score.
It's 4th and 8.
And you know, they could have scored and the Grizzlies could have come back. So still a lot up in the air with 3:51 to go. No score. High drama.
Well, Jeff, I think the defense for the Grizzlies has definitely proved itself here today, keeping the high-powered offensive attack of Cloverleaf down to with no points with 3:51 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Win or lose, a big feather. Win, lose, or draw, actually. A big feather in the Grizzlies' cap, although I don't believe there is a draw in high school these days. They pretty much do these little 20-yard overtimes until we have a winner. Okay, so a timeout taken by Cloverleaf with 3:51 to go in the game.
4th and 8.
Still no score, and it's 4th and 8. And the Colts have only one more timeout to go.
The ball's on about the 9-yard line.
That's very big. So if Cloverleaf doesn't come up with any points and the Grizzlies fail, Cloverleaf will only have one timeout left as they try to put something on the board.
Remember, the Grizzlies have 2 timeouts remaining.
That's right. I'm not quite sure what Scott Gasper's talking about. They may be trying to put in some kind of trick play. And this would be a good time, if you're Cloverleaf, to do a trick play. Because if it fails, you haven't lost the game. It's still 0-0. And you still have Wadsworth buried deep in their own territory. So they may try to set up for a field goal, but try something else.
And that's the advantage of having Gasper as your kicker, because he could just directly get the snap.
The ball is on the 7. This would be a 24-yard field goal. Here's the snap. The ball down. They will kick it. It is good.
Just good. That just went inside the right upright. And Gasper makes his first field goal of the season. And it's a big one as the Colts take a 3-0 lead over the Grizzlies.
Scott Malarkey holding it there. That kick went perfectly for Cloverleaf as their fans on the far side of the field are jubilant. There's 3:47 to go, and the Grizzlies are trailing Cloverleaf here in Lodi by a score of 3-0. Wadsworth in a pretty decent position, so that if they can put together a good drive, they could at least tie it and perhaps win it. So Wadsworth has to come down and score in some way, and they do have a decent amount of time, 3:47, and a pair of timeouts. So we will see. It is a big time. It's a big time for the Grizzlies offense to perform here.
But the one key with 3:47 remaining, you said that's quite a bit of time, but that means that the Grizzlies have to open up the passing game, because if there's going to be incomplete passes and plays that aren't going to get them a lot of yards, they're going to need the clock to get stopped so they don't use all the time off the clock.
Or the Grizzlies can do what works in the first half, which is give it to Brian Madigan and Jason Knapp around the ends. They were doing a good job of getting around
to the outside
and getting out of bounds to stop the clock.
That's
so we
true.
could see a lot of those end runs. We probably won't see too much more of Josh McCall up the middle. No knock on McCall, but just to stop the clock. A one-hopper, a two-hopper. Madigan picks it up. Actually, it's Knapp, and he is crushed at the 20. So the Grizzlies will take over from the 20. 80 yards to go towards a victory.
3:43 remaining in the fourth quarter with 2 timeouts.
And if the Grizzlies don't get a touchdown and have to go for a field goal, we'll see if they can improve on last year. go. I believe we have a clipping call on the Grizzlies, and that will
the
hurt
ball's
big
getting marched
time.
back.
That'll take the Grizzlies back 10 yards and they'll have to start on their own 10. That is big, because not only do you lose that yardage, but if, God forbid for the Grizzlies, you do have a turnover, then Cloverleaf is right on the doorstep. And the clock is now running, 3:33 and counting. Grizzlies have to make up a 3-0 deficit. Brian Thompson is the receiver to the left of your screen. Grizzlies going with a pair of wingbacks now. Ian Cranston, number 1, making the call. Madigan in motion. Cranston is crushed close to the goal line. A big hit there. And that was Matt Fordenwalt. Remember, he's the man who hit Cranston that led to the interception that killed the Grizzlies' good drive in the first. And now Wadsworth is really up against the wall.
The ball is
on their own 3
at about the 3-yard line.
They lost 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 17. And now the Grizzlies have no margin for error. Jason Joy, number 6, runs out to join the fun. See if the Grizzlies can get the offensive machine going, because as Elvis once sang, it's now or never. Okay,
notice
again,
Brian Madigan is out.
Grizzlies in a double wing. They will go up the middle, trying to regain some of that yardage. Josh McCall banging it up. He was able to pick up about 3 up to the 6-yard line. Still, the Grizzlies are a long ways to go. Craig McNamara checks in at split end. He's number 11. 3rd and 14 on the 5. Grizzlies have to worry about survival here,
and they call
before they can worry about getting down and winning this game. Wadsworth taking their 2nd timeout, 1 left to go. And this is time to pull something out of the offensive playbook. When you need yardage in a hurry, what do you do if you're Coach Ramsey Shepard? Well, you probably put the ball in the hands of one of your speedsters, I would think.
Right now, Brian Madigan is not out there on the field.
His leg may still be bothering him from
and he has been the offensive weapon, if there is any, for the Grizzlies so far today.
And it could be Jason Knapp, too, as he's had some good performances. We're down to 2:05 to go as the Wadsworth Marching Band, actually they're the standing band in the stands right now, trying to get their team pumped up with the OSU fight song.
And a very little bit of rain starting to sprinkle down here.
But despite that, the field has dried up pretty much from its earlier soggy state. So the Grizzlies running backs, and everybody for that matter, should be able to cut pretty good on the sod out there. Remember, we'd like to remind you to tune in next week at the same time you're tuning in right now as the Grizzlies face the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers at home. And it'll be me and Dad, Bob Gorman, on that game.
Madigan is in the game now.
Okay, big play, 3rd and 14. Little dump off, and it looks like he was going for Madigan, but the ball hit Madigan in the back.
He threw it just a little too soon. Madigan turned around.
Madigan wasn't expecting it yet.
He anticipated the pass after it came.
And now it was Keith Bamerlin in there pressuring Ian Cranston. Grizzlies really haven't had too much time to throw, and that's going to be something they're going to have to work on against the Black Tigers. Ian Cranston has thrown well when he's had time, but he hasn't had too much time.
When he has thrown, too. He hasn't done a lot of attempts to throw.
And now the Grizzlies in deep trouble here. 2:01 to go. McNamara punts out of his end zone. Spiraling kick, rather short. It's going to bounce toward the sidelines and out of bounds at the Wadsworth 29. So now the Grizzlies are going to have to play good defense, but they are down 3-0, and the Colts are just going to try to kill the ball here.
The defense not only has to be good now, but it has to be aggressive, too, because their best hope is to try to cause a fumble or an interception or something along those lines. They have to be really aggressive, and a lot of the Wadsworth faithful starting to take off now.
Looks like Wadsworth is going to have to try to put some more wrinkles in the offense, because just like last year, the defense is still ahead of the offense for the Grizzlies. And we haven't really seen the kicking game yet, so we can't really evaluate that. But Wadsworth's going to have to improve the passing side of the offense here. 1:53 to go. Let's see how the Colts try to protect this 3-0 lead. They will go right up the middle to Matt Ford, the fullback. He's carrying some tacklers. And the inside man, I believe Shane Robinson in there.
Number 64, Mike Levitt.
As well as Mike Levitt. picked up about 3. Each team with just 1 timeout to go, and we're down to 1:34 to go.
And Brian Madigan, they say, made the stop for the Grizzlies.
So it was a 3-yard gain, 2nd down and 7, but the clock working against Wadsworth here, 1:20. The East Orientals will come here next week to face Cloverleaf as the Colts open the season with 4 straight home games. Buckeye and Brunswick are the others. This is going to be Wright. He's got a big Vanguard with him, and he's going to get a first down, I believe.
And Wright just has some serious momentum whenever he gets the ball. His running game is based entirely on momentum, and he's getting a lot of extra yardage just on the fact that he's carrying himself through with a lot of extra effort.
Shane Robinson and Jason Joy made the stop for the Grizzlies, and they did stop him 1 yard short of the first down, actually about a half yard. And the Grizzlies will take their final timeout with 46 seconds to go and a 3-0 lead for Cloverleaf. So I think that this might even be 2-down territory. You figure even if the Grizzlies are able to stop Cloverleaf, it's 4th and 1. If you're Cloverleaf, you might as well just run the ball again, because even if it fails, the Grizzlies have next to no time left to throw a Hail Mary pass.
A punt is not going to gain them any extra ground. They may try a field goal, but they're not that close. Based on the way Gasper's been kicking, that one that actually went through, barely went through from short yardage. It was a 24-yard attempt, and it just barely went inside that right upright.
I'd like to remind you that rather shortly, and I'm sort of reminding my colleagues here, Dave Haslip's going to pick the Grizzlies offensive player of the game, and Dad, Bob Gorman, will take the defensive player of the game. And you should look for them on Wednesday night. Check your WCTV screens for Mike Manful's coach's show with Ramsey Shepard, and he, if all goes according to plan, would be also interviewing not only Coach Ramsey Shepard, but whomever Dave picks as offensive player of the week and whomever Dad picks as defensive player of the week. That's how the plan is going for the 1993 season. So not only do you get the games, you get the coach's show as well, as the best keeps getting better here. Here's Matt Ford, and he's immediately stuffed. He's trying to bull his way forward to the first down. Shane Robinson on the stop, as well as Josh Hendricks. But Scott Malarkey was clapping as if Cloverleaf had gotten the first down, but no gain, and it's 4th and short, but time's still ticking, 22 seconds. Grizzlies down 3-0 here, and they are running out of time.
The Grizzlies probably will not even be able to get a playoff here.
Well, that might be true. 10 seconds, 9. Here it goes.
They're going to let the time run out.
But now the officials are stopping the clock with 8 seconds to go. Oh, it's a delay of game call. They just let the clock tick as long as they could.
And they'll just take the penalty and then start the clock again. And
it is 4th and 6, but remember, as soon as the ball blows dead, the clock stops. So the Colts would have to keep the ball alive for 8 seconds in order to completely shut the Grizzlies out of the game. Because if Wadsworth can just somehow deaden the ball with any time left on the clock, they do have a chance at a miracle. And it would seem to be a miracle. Let's see what happens. 4th and 6. Scott Gasper takes the snap for the Colts from the eye. He will go back to throw, and he will immediately fall down with 5 seconds to go. So not a very, well, I don't know, from a preservation standpoint, that was a good play. He could have tried to throw it. He could have done something, but he didn't want to make a turnover. So Wadsworth does have 5 seconds.
He's leaving the game in the hands of the Grizzlies offense as opposed to their defense. If the defense would have caused some sort of turnover or something, you know, they could have been downfield and scored. What I think Gasper wanted to do is turn the ball over to the Grizzlies offense that has not been incredibly successful today, and let them lose the game on their own.
I wouldn't
but you risk them, you know, winning the game as well.
I wouldn't say a show of disrespect by Cloverleaf for Wadsworth's offense, but perhaps a bit of confidence in their defense and confidence in the way things are going. This will be the last play of the game. The Grizzlies have to score, and the clock is running. They're starting it again, and the game's over. I don't think the Grizzlies have even realized, and they realize now that the game is over. Ian Cranston was set to bring his team up to the line of scrimmage and start this final play. The official calls for the clock to go, and the clock ran, and the 5 seconds left, and the game's over.
I don't think that was anticipated by Wadsworth at all.
That's right. Ian Cranston with a stunned look on his face.
As if you can see his face.
I'm sure it was a stunned look, but the game is over. They're shaking hands, and that is the ball game. And I'll go with the scoring summary while Dad and Dave come up with the players of the game. Your final score here from Gene Clark Field in Lodi: the Cloverleaf Colts 3, the Wadsworth Grizzlies nothing. The Grizzlies with a valiant defensive performance. Their offense just coming up a bit short here, and a very good battle against a very highly favored Cloverleaf team. 3-0 your final score. The only score in the game came when Scott Gasper kicked a 24-yard field goal with 3 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the game. He just hooked it inside the right upright, and that was all the offense that the Colts needed. Your final 3-0. Grizzlies will move on to home at Art Wright Memorial Stadium next week right here on WCTV against the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers. And for this game, 3-0 loss. We'll start with you, Dave. The offense not generating any points, but some good performances. Who's the offensive player of the game?
Well, Jeff, we're going to have to no one really stood out as, having an exceptional, really big play or anything like that. But I think if anyone did anything for the offense, it would have to be Brian Madigan, just because he was versatile out there. Caught a pass or two, and had a few good runs. He was versatile. He seemed to have the offense revolving around his ability to play different positions and move around and do a lot of stuff. Plus, he was on defense as well. So we're going to give it to Brian Madigan.
He does seem to be the Grizzlies' big play threat. We'll see if the Grizzlies can develop maybe a few more. And Dad, you've been scouting the defense. You've really been impressed with the linebackers' play. And who would you go with for the defensive player of the game?
Well, it's really tough to decide between Josh McCall and Mike Levitt, the way they anchored that linebacker core. So I'm going to have to just split it down the middle, go with both Mike Levitt and Josh McCall. And so many solo tackles, and the way they helped each other out, you almost think of them as a pair, the way they handle the defense. So there's two outstanding linebackers, Mike Levitt and Josh McCall, in that 4-4 defense that held this really pretty powerful team to 3 points on the board overall.
Okay, so you can watch out for the Dick Manful Coaches Show on Wednesday, as he'll be with Coach Ramsey Shepard. And if all goes according to plan, with Offensive Player of the Game Brian Madigan, and Defensive Player or Players of the Game, however they want to work it, Josh McCall and Mike Levitt, the linebackers. Once again, from Gene Clark Field in Lodi, your final score: Cloverleaf 3, Wadsworth nothing. We'd like to thank our cameramen, John Madigan, Brian Dodge, and Matt Neal, our director, and everyone who contributed to the wonderful WCTV cam van, which brings you on the road. So tune in next week, Friday, against Cuyahoga Falls. For Dave Hayslip and Bob Gorman, this is Jeff Gorman saying so long till next week.